Hey everybody, so this is kind of a late night video, and I just didn't want to leave any of you hanging before tomorrow. I happen to think tomorrow is going to be a very big day. So, yeah, if you wake up early and you see this, then definitely give it a listen. I'm not really expecting a whole lot of views out of this. I just want to make sure that I have you guys covered in case anything big happens. So, just the things that I want to pay close attention to. So, on SPY, I want to show you. I've been showing you guys this trend channel for a while now. So look what basically happened. So we almost came up to the top of this trend channel, and then we rejected very hard today. So if we take a closer look, we did this gap fill. So you can see we basically filled this gap, and then we rejected very hard today. Essentially today, there's virtually no buyers anywhere. So sell, sell, sell. It was basically a downtrend channel this entire day. We just sold all the way into the close. We had this tiny little rally, and that was literally it. That was it. That's all we got. So to me, just looking at today's volume as well, it wasn't crazy volume. I would say it's more leaning towards like average volume. The last few days when we saw crazy selling, we were seeing SPY like 150 million shares traded, things of that nature. So to me, this isn't crazy volume, but that's what's worrisome to me. We're having, medium volume on a very strong selling day. I mean, we fell 4.03%. I would have expected more selling, or more volume, I mean. So what this is telling me is that, maybe not a whole lot of buyers are stepping in, and it's just all sellers. So, yeah, I mean, that's a little bit worrisome to me because if we have higher volume, then I think that's going to go straight into capitulation. So the one thing that I do want to pay attention to is that where we fell today was actually in line with this support line. I could probably bring this down just a wee bit. Yeah, where we fell today was right in line with this support line, as you can see. I do want to point out on the SPY, I like to draw this mid-trend line. Now, the reason why I like to draw this is because we spend most of our time underneath this mid-trend line, and every single time we get above this, we hit this upper trend channel, or most of the times. So this one time was a fake out, and then we hit it again here, then we went and hit it again here. So let's say we fade off again, and then we go all the way down here to like 380 or whatever, and then we have a retest. Well, then every single time we have a retest of this trend channel we reject, it's just going to be lower every single time. So let's say like the next time will be like 402, and then the next time it'll be like 392, and so on and so forth if we just continue down this pattern. So we've been in this trend channel since basically since the start of April. So when I'm going on the weekly time frame, we could potentially be in our 7th week of selling. So this isn't looking too good. I do think it's very possible that we could sell off for 7 weeks here. And just based off what I told you guys today, not crazy volume, and we fell 4%. That's a little bit worrisome to me. I mean, if we're going to see buyers, they would have stepped in. So I have this feeling that we could just continue selling off. And tomorrow and day after tomorrow could just be an absolute slaughterfest. So that's my personal opinion. But what makes me a little bit, what makes me a little bit unsure of that is because, we are going to have 7 sell-off days if that does happen. Or, I mean, 7 weeks of selling. Now, statistically, that doesn't happen very often. So, but again, I can make that argument. Well, 6 weeks of selling doesn't happen very often. 5 weeks of selling doesn't happen very often. So who's to say we don't just get seven? Because statistically, it doesn't happen very often for 6 weeks. So why not a seventh? Why not an eighth? Why not a ninth? So this is definitely a little bit worrisome to me. And I do want to say that the last time we did hit this trend channel, we essentially knifed down. We drew a doji and we knifed down again. So we could do the same thing. We could knife down right here. We could draw a doji, and then we could just knife down further. So do be careful of that, because that's what happened right here. We hit the top of this trend channel. We rejected very hard next day. I mean, this was a pretty strong sell-off. And then we built a doji, and then we just fell even more. So that could happen. I mean, we could just go here, build out a doji, and then we could fall all the way down here. So now when I zoom out, it's kind of sad that I have to go further. I have to go all the way into 2021. So when I zoom out, where I really don't want us to fall under is right here, this 384 zone. So we could potentially draw a double bottom. It's very possible. And then maybe we could rally off again. Who knows? We could build out a higher low, and maybe we could just rebound from here, and then maybe we could break out. Who knows? Maybe this is the bottom. Who knows? Basically what I'm saying is that I really don't know, but I do know that if we do break under this area, things get really bad. Now I do want to also point out Apple. So with Apple, it's very clear where we can't break under. It's right here, right at around 137.90. So this 137, actually, what is that? 137.69. So yeah, we don't want to fall under that. If we fall under this 137.69 area, well then essentially we could just gap all the way down, probably to like 127-ish. So that's very possible. So this is where I think the SPY could break down. If we break under this area, I think SPY breaks down. And we do also have this support line right here. But I don't know how much it's actually going to support us. So I do believe that if we do sell off just a little bit more and we come down to this area, I feel like shorts will take some profits. This starts getting really risky for short positions. Maybe it looks a little bit more bullish for bulls. They could take profits, or they could get calls or whatever. They could buy shares, and then they could try and ride this up a little bit. So one thing I think is also possible is that we could come all the way down here, and then we could rally, and then we could build out a shoulder, and then maybe in the future time when we have bad earnings or whatever, we could go all the way down to here. So maybe this doesn't have to happen all right now. Maybe we just go sideways for a bit, we break out, and then we actually break out of this area, this 149 area, and then we never make it past this 156, and then we just start rejecting and making it all the way back down again. So that could entirely happen, and then that would be a head and shoulders pattern. So as things are right now, I feel like the selling is just so strong, and maybe we could start building out a bear flag here, and maybe things slow down a little bit. So that's one thought. That's more like the optimistic thought. It's the optimistic but still very bearish thought, because at the end I still think that we're going to go down. I just think that we're going to delay it right now. So that's one thought. So definitely pay attention to this area, this 137, what was it again? 137.60, 69. So if we ever close below that, then yeah, that's when you really want to get some protection to the downside. Because I think that's when SPY will start really cracking down. So definitely be careful there. Now with QQQ, so with QQQ, I mean, we've fallen down so sharply right now. Let me see, let me draw this trend channel right here. So now this trend looks pretty clear. I mean, it's pretty crystal clear that we're just in this trend channel and we're doing pretty much nothing here. So we've just been bouncing back and forth. And then if we do start going sideways here, then it's going to get interesting because there is more potential for us to break out or break down. But just given the nature of this chart, this could be just the pull for a bear flag. So for us to have a meaningful rally, I would like to see us maybe come up to this 328. Maybe we fall, we build out an inverse head and shoulders, and then we start making it back up again. So that's one very optimistic thought. I feel like it won't happen, but if it does, then I'll just say I told you so, even though I didn't think it happened. So I do want to flip onto the weekly chart now. So we're far below all the moving averages on the weekly as well. And then let's take a look at the weekly on Apple as well. So yeah, this is why this area is so important. It's the 100-day moving average on the weekly time frame. So right here it's 137.29. So if we do close below that too, then yeah, I do think we really start breaking down. Now, let's take a look at Bitcoin. So I don't really chart Bitcoin all that much, but one very obvious thing is this trend line right here. So you can see it catches all these tops. And then you can see that once we broke below this area, it really started fading off. So we can also see this trend line as well. Catches this top, that top, and this fade off area. And we have this as well. So we have a lot of resistance. And right now we're moving in this uptrend channel, but this could just be a bear flag building out. So if we do continue this path, first we could see some resistance right here at this 31,000 area. Then we could definitely see some resistance right up here at this 34,000 area. It's probably in line with the top of this bar. There we go. And then if we do break past that, well then we have resistance again here, right at around 37,000. And then we have resistance again here at like 38,000-ish. And then if we can get all the way back up here, well then we're going to have resistance right here at around 41 to 42,000. So there's resistance everywhere. And when I'm looking at the weekly time frame, this doesn't look too good. It's basically a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. But then there's also a head and shoulder within here. So it's a head and shoulder within a head and shoulder. So there is also a support line for Bitcoin. It's right down here. And if we do want to see a path down all the way to this 20,000 area that everybody keeps talking about, I think the path is just going to continue moving sideways along here until we see some really tight price action, and then we could eventually break out. But there is also a possibility that if we do have some serious selling and capitulation. Could probably go all the way down here too, so that is a risk. But I don't think it's just going to happen in like the next few weeks or whatever. I think it'll be more of a slow bleed out. All right, I think I covered basically everything I wanted to cover. Oh yeah, the VIX. Let's cover the VIX or UVXY. Oops, dropped my mic. So, this is also what makes me a lot more bearish. So we had this support trend line. We broke below it. And in one day, we basically made it right back above this. So now what exactly does this mean? Well, I mean, it could mean a few things. I mean, it could just mean that we could try and retest these areas, and then we could just fade off. So, I mean, we do have this resistance line. So maybe we could hit the top of this, and then we could fade back off. But, you know, that's wishful thinking. We did pretty much fill this gap right here. So there is a chance that just based off this gap fill, that we could just fall and tomorrow is a bullish day. So, you know, it's a little bit hard, like the way that I look at this, because I could look at it as, oh, okay, we were just filling up a gap today. Or I could say, well, now we're back in the trend line. So now things get dangerous again. So what happens from here? Do we just continue up and then we hit this trend line and then we reject? Or do we just make all-time highs? Or what happens now? So, you know, that's where things get a little bit hairy. Because it's very clear that we made this gap fill now on the UVXY. And let me try and see if I can find any broader patterns here. Yeah, I was hoping I could find some sort of golden pattern. It's going to tell me everything, but I don't really think it's that. That's not really telling me much. Nope. Not seeing any very noticeable pattern. Maybe one pattern that I do notice is that, you know, we could be building out a head and shoulders here. And this could just be a shoulder. Who knows? And maybe we just gap all the way down here. And maybe this whole day was just a fluke. Remember that this week is options expiration, so a lot of crazy things do happen. And sometimes we do see moves like this where, you know, it seems like it's fading. It seems like it's gonna fade all the way down here, but sometimes you see this and then we continue to fade off. So let me see if I can find an example of that. So yeah, like right here, kind of see this choppy movement. So we faded off right here, and then we just had a rally again, and then another rally, and then we just faded off. So sometimes it's not a very clear path, and sometimes you have a gap fill, and it just rejects right away. So sometimes you see something like that. Just go back up to fill the gap, and then we reject. So yeah, I mean, this pattern right here, it's tricky. I mean, this could also be a head and shoulders too. I mean, we could just be a shoulder right here, a head right here, and then we could just be doodling around here and then draw another shoulder. Or this could just be the start of a new trend, and I just gotta get rid of this one. And maybe it just looks something like this. So who knows? It's kind of hard to tell. So this is why I'm a little bit conflicted. You know, I'm not entirely sure if tomorrow could be bullish. And just look at the after hours on the UVXY. So in after hours, it's 1827. It's essentially like right there. So yeah, I mean gap fill, but also right back in the trend. If we're looking at this trend. So yeah, hard to say. And let's just flip on the moving averages, see if there's anything going on here. So now we're back above the 50. Oh, interesting. 200-day moving average is at 1770. We didn't quite get there. So, maybe this could be resistance. You know, I didn't even think to turn on the moving averages here. That's interesting. That made me slightly more bullish. But at the same time, if we get above this, that's very bearish. Because what if we start holding above this area? Then that's very scary. It is kind of scary that this 200-day moving average is coming down. Yeah, I mean, we're getting so close to this 200-day moving average going down that maybe the 50 and the 20 start stacking above this 200-day moving average. I mean, then UVXY will have like the freaking full bull trend. That's a scary thing to think about. Yeah. I mean, if this 200-day moving average and this 50-day moving average do get closer together, then gosh, you know, we haven't seen that in freaking forever. Yeah, the last time we saw that, all the way back here in 2020, that's exactly when we crashed. So yeah, that's some scary stuff. I think that's definitely something to watch. Just this 200-day moving average getting very, very close to this 50-day moving average. I mean, we essentially have $2 between it. So if this 50-day moving average does start curling up, this 200-day moving average does continue down, then you know, I think you just got to hold a lot of UVXY shares, because I think things get very, very, very scary when these two moving averages get closer and closer together. So that's it for my analysis, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and definitely stay safe tomorrow. Just to recap, the one thing I would definitely be watching is that area on Apple. We don't want to break underneath this 137.69. If we do, that's going to spell hell for the markets. So go look out there, you guys. Make sure you cover yourself if we do get underneath this, because the downside is very, very heavy. And have a good one.